I decided that I wanted to go to the Natural History Museum because it's been a really long time and it's one of my favorite places in my hometown, and I thought that the combination of reading the first book for the Wainwright Shortlist, the Dun Cow Rib, would be perfect in combination with a visit to the Natural History Museum, because it was one of the places that got me into nature and inspired an interest in animals in particular, and I always think fondly of that place now, even many years later. So I thought that I would take you with me. Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do my first Wainwright Prize Shortlist review. So today I'm going to talk about the Dun Cow Rib, A Very Natural Childhood by John Lister-Kaye, and this was published by Canon Gates and came out in 2017, but the paperback came out in 2018, I think. So this book is a memoir of John Lister-Kaye, partly through his childhood in general, his relationship with his family, and some of the family troubles that shaped a lot of his childhood, especially his mother's heart condition that constantly had her away in hospitals. And this is also sort of a post-war Britain life of the countryside, and you see parts of Britain that feels like they are definitely a part of the past. The type of sports that were popular at the time, the hunting, the way they think about the economy and jobs, how the war had affected the country, how things were changing from more traditional lifestyles and views on things into more modern things that we recognize today. So this book, while it is called A Very Natural Childhood, and a lot of it is about John Lister-Kaye's growing interest in nature from the very beginnings, it is also a lot about his general childhood, how he was sent off to boarding school because of his mother's condition, and how a lot of his seeking nature out and his growing interest in nature was shaped by other things in his life. First part of the book is mostly about his family history and his mother, the sort of the development of her condition, and how it was always a thing that sort of guided the way his life was going and what he could do. For example, he got a lot of freedom in sort of exploring the fields around him because no one was really supervising him. His grandfather was also, I think, part of the reason that he became interested in nature in the first place. He had a lot of greenhouses and things like that, so he was already definitely a naturalist. And then he was sent off to boarding school and spent a lot of time feeling lonely, feeling abandoned in a way. And I think the first 200 pages of this book feels more like a memoir of nostalgia of a Britain or a place that no longer exists, a type of lifestyle that no longer exists. A lot of the animals that are part of this book are also extinct or close to extinction now. So it's definitely sort of a love letter to the past, and also some of the hardships that he had to go through in order to get where he is today. The later 100 pages is more focused on nature and his true interest emerging. From liking just running around in the fields to actually studying animals and in adopting animals and trying to be more actively a part of nature, and he eventually working with the writer of Ring of the Bright Water, Gavin Maxwell. There's a good chunk of like the 50 last pages is only about his work with him and his relationship with him. This book was a little bit of a letdown because it is, while a lot of it is about nature, it isn't as focused as I was expecting for a Wainwright shortlist. He speaks in some detail about the development of heart operations and medicine. He talks in detail about the hierarchy within the boarding school system, how he had a hard time adapting to it. He talks about a lot of different things that were important to him in his up to his 20s, I guess. Things that were important to him then that really shaped his personality, his values, how, for example, he really wanted to please his parents by getting a job that they would approve of, but being really unhappy in working within a more industry oriented work, and then eventually following his dreams, and that actually over time leading him to somewhere where he was really happy and could do the work that he really wanted to do. It is more, I think, focused on his childhood than the natural aspect. So I think that is worth bearing in mind when you pick this book up. That wasn't really a bad thing, but it wasn't what I was expecting out of this book. I think I would have preferred to have more of the sections that were towards the back, that were more specifically focused on him studying otters and badgers and foxes that he found, and he has some parts of that within the bigger narrative of the nostalgia and the past, the country life, but they are more like incidents in between a lot of other things. The writing is sometimes really beautiful. I will read you one quote that I think really captures how he ends the book. I know too that without understanding or recognizing it at the time, it was her unexplained illness and her many absences that from an early age had made me seek solace by escaping into the wilds of the 1950s English countryside. I had buried myself in natural history because it surrounded me, and it had irretrievably snared my boyhood imagination. Those are my thoughts about the Dunko Rib. I hope you enjoyed this review and this video. I hope you're having a really good day, and I will talk to you soon.